Oof. Finally, I've escaped a spoiler-free game review of the X8 VR. I'll help you decide if it's worth getting a ticket into Kotaku Creates VR underground station of their smash flat indie hit, the X8. The X8 plunges you into an endless underground passageway where your objective is to reach the elusive X8, as you probably guessed. In this short walking simulator inspired by Japanese underground passageways, liminal spaces, and the eerie concept of the backrooms, you must meticulously observe your surroundings. Anomalies are key. Spot one and you must turn back. But press forward and miss one and you start from the beginning in true underground Groundhog Day style. Now available on MetaQuest 2, free, and the Pro, this indie sensation, originally developed by the aforementioned Kotaku Create and published by My Dearest Inc., My Dear Indeed, I'm not sure if they handled the porting of it for the VR version, offers an even more immersive experience in that way that only VR can, challenging your perception and nerves in its unsettling, looping underground. Released on the 11th of June 2024 on the Metastore and priced at £5 or $7 for my wonderful K-Kona American cousins, is a solo adventure that will test your observation skills while keeping you on the edge of your train seat. Maybe I should stop with the underground puns. As is typical with these reviews, I will give the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then give you a score at the end out of 10, or 10.0 to be precise, as we do half points in this here ends of reviewness. So first off, this game is a simple concept that plays really well in VR. And such is a simple concept that it works really well by making it even easier for you to see the anomalies and feel immersed in the environment itself, while nailing home the creep factor of Groundhog Day, what can only be described as a possessed underground, I guess. Conversely though, with this game's simpleness, is essentially an interactive spot the difference with very simple interactions. Actually really, well, no interactions other than opening and closing your hands, and whether you push forward or back off as you observe the environment, attempting to finally exit your 8th nightmare. There are very basic options for controlling this game. Pause button gets you these options to change whether you're moving in snap or in smooth motion as far as rotation is concerned. And then you're also given the option to delete your data, essentially your progress in the game, which is keeping track of what anomalies you've already found versus how many you still need to find, which is useful if you simply want to play again or you want someone else to be able to play on your device, so that it keeps dishing out anomalies and surprises for that new experience. Or maybe if you just simply want to see if you can get it all done in one spin without any mistakes. Unfortunately, it's not a mode that's been added as an idea. You'd have to completely be doing that yourself. That's pretty much all we get in the options to that end, which is fine for what the game is essentially. But there's some VR sickness measures like vignetting maybe, or others features might have helped for people like myself who, once they're not in the VR mode for a few days or so, can get back to maximum VR sickness. But I'll get into that in some other points as we continue on. So as I alluded to in the previous point, the snap movement might be the way to play this game. Now, once you get acclimated to VR, it can be less of a problem. I'd say be prepared to go with snap movement if this one's smooth implementation catches you out like it did me. It's something that's more important sometimes for immersion if you're presenting VR games more than it is for when you're playing. Sure, it is more immersive if you can spin around smoothly, but it can throw your stomach. Yeah, this game basically just wrecked my stomach and my head, especially when combined with a smooth movement and a very, very hot room full of electronics and lights running for your view and pleasure at the same time. So you might just be fine in comparison. Maybe it's just me, and maybe it's just the content creator's bane, as that's not normally the conditions that you're running in. But yeah, be mindful of it just in case. Now, the looks and performance is really nice on both the Quest 2 and 3. It looks great on the device in its mobile wireless mode that is native to the device itself when you're not using PC VR, obviously. So it doesn't drain the battery too heavy as well, because it's obviously not overly taxing as VR experiences go, with it being a very minimalistic, sharp but very minimalistic design. It doesn't have too many moving parts going on for the most part. Where there is sound, it fits and it works just fine, setting the daunting atmosphere and giving those nighttime in the underground alone vibes that it's aiming for successfully. Now, to be honest with you, I couldn't see much difference on the Quest 3, aside from maybe a performance gain, although please state, capture methods may mislead in places when Quest's native Chrome link methodology buffs and therefore can cause little graphically weird artifacting going on. So just keep that in mind when you're comparing the Quest 2 versions to the Quest 3 version in this video or anywhere else. But overall, works nice, looks good, practically as good as the PC version for all intents and purposes. Now, this game is not very long for your money. So, I mean, once it's done, it's done. Now, I think for the money, it's just about right. £5, $7. It's about right for me, even though it's maximum 1 hour, 1 hour and a half experience. If you're just going to literally beat the game as far as exit 8, it could be even quicker than that. I would highly recommend, though, that you actually go and try and find all the anomalies to get really your full money's worth. And also because some of the anomalies are cooler than other ones. So you don't want to miss out on that, especially if you're going to buy this. Absolutely 100% it. It's not super hard to do. The game does seem to keep track of all the anomalies that you've seen in a playthrough in a loop before deleting any save data. So it doesn't tend to repeat. If at all has the ability to repeat, I'm not sure. I can't remember it really repeating. So once you've found an anomaly, it does seem to only pick out ones that you haven't found until you eventually finish the or exit successfully, which I think was the case for me for the most part. Hence, I ended up finding all of them in the playthrough that you can find. That will be linked to this video if you want to see an entire playthrough, but I would recommend you play the game first yourself before doing that. Because there's a VR exclusive surprise in there that you should definitely experience first, and then go and watch the gameplay video and like and subscribe and follow if you're watching on like a Facebook or something like that, because I know Meta will like that. So we're trying to be platform agnostic. Try and play it first. No, it's not very long. Hour to hour and a half max. And even for me, usually I'm really slow, and it still took me about an hour and 20 minutes. So it is really a short game in comparison. I'm usually 3 times the time of how long to beat average of like the middle average time that people give out. So that's just to give you an idea. This game is short. Unless you've got really terrible observation skills, you're going to finish this in an hour to hour and a half, 100% in it easily. However, though, like I was kind of hinting at, if you care about your dollar per hour entertainment ratio, waiting for a sale or using one of those meta % off, 25% off friend code things, legitimately, of course, might be the way to go. Especially if you found all the anomalies already, worth doing to get your money's worth. Then it's definitely gonna give you the best bang for your buck. If you don't do that, like I said, you're definitely not gonna. It's gonna be rough because you might finish it really quicker than me. But otherwise, there's really no need to play it again. Once you've done it, you've done it. Thereafter, unless you're a crazy person with some kind of goldfish's memory, which I think is actually longer than 60 seconds. I think it's meant to be like a couple of days or something that they found out. But yeah, if you've got one of those kind of memories, then you'll get obviously much more time out of it. But chances are you probably don't. So be mindful of that cost versus per hour ratio. And sometimes remember that, people pay a lot more money for like a football match or a soccer match that lasts 90 minutes, but can end up being the most boring thing you've ever seen. They pay a lot more money than what we pay for our games. So sometimes we think our games are actually expensive, considering that usually you can play them multiple times or have you, or spread the entertainment between other people and other family members and so forth. We're actually getting a lot more value than we actually think in comparison to what people get in other entertainment experiences. But still, the point is there. It has to be made. Very short experience. Okay, so now it's time for the moment you've been waiting for all your life. A final full review score for the Exit 8 VR. Overall, because of the length and the simplicity of the game versus the experience and everything else, I think it's fair to give this game a 7.5 out of 10 rating. It's a simple concept, made even more immersive and better in VR in my opinion, provided you don't get completely stomach wrecked like I was. Now it could be longer for the price, but if you aren't worried about that dollar per hour of content per ratio, as I sometimes can be, depending on how much more the game's asking for in terms of money, sometimes it's not really fair as well in comparison, as I spoke about earlier, to other pieces of other forms of entertainment. Then this is a smart, interactive, and at times horrific spot the difference experience that has spawned a plethora of knockoffs ever since. Even more so than a certain Kojima-san and Death Stranding that he said was like that was going to be a genre game. That game was a genre for about a month. This game has had much more lasting impact. There's a lot more clones, even right down to the same name. I think I've got a VR version that's got exactly the same name, like Exit 8 in it. So I mean, this has been influential, and as simple as it is, really clever game by these guys. Real good job. As a former and returning developer, I am impressively jealous. So well done to them. With all that said and out of the way, do not forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever you do for wherever platform you're on as relevant, and check out some of the links that's on the screen now. There'll be videos on the screen now, as well as in the pinned comment and description and wherever valid place on whatever valid platform you're on. I hope you exit this video successfully. Should maybe put some of my own anomalies in this video somewhere. I don't know how I would do such a thing. I should have done that earlier. Oh well, would have been a good idea.